People aren't buying as many mid-size sedans as they used to, and yet, ironically enough, it's hard to recall a time when there's been a better range of offerings out there. And one of the class's real unheralded competitors is the Hyundai i40, which this week received a range of midlife updates, including some welcome suspension and drivetrain tweaks, as well as some significant price cuts. Let's take a closer look. Always a sharp looker, the i40 premium sedan here gets a bolder new grille, new headlights and new daytime running lights. There's also been a small tweak under the sleek bonnet, with the now standard 1.7 litre turbo diesel engine getting small power and torque increases. The changes to the cabin are quite minimal, and while this version still has a satellite navigation system, it's not the nifty updated one with digital radio that you see in the European specification of this car. The layout is clear and logical, if a little conservative, and the plastics are generally soft touch and upmarket. Now this top spec version retains most of the equipment that its predecessor did, and yet it's $4,000 cheaper than it was before. There's some really nice luxury car touches like these beautiful heated leather seats and the full-length panoramic sunroof. The electric park brake and auto hold function are nice touches as well. It feels pretty premium here in the back row. There are some great touches like these individual map lights, a hook to hang your jacket on that I found particularly useful this morning, and a new feature, a closing storage device in the ski port. There's also really decent legroom here, although the map pockets are a little bit flimsy and cheap. And probably the glaring issue that I've noticed is the fact that this panoramic sunroof really eats into the headroom. I have to stoop a little bit just to fit, and I wouldn't be comfortable over a long cruise. There's also a boot big enough to house a few sets of golf clubs, and we like the nifty cargo net and the fact that the rear seats flip fold. And in something of a rarity in modern motoring, there's a full-size spare wheel hidden under the cargo floor. Now if you want even more space and practicality, don't forget that Hyundai offers an i40 Tourer estate version as well. With Hyundai's decision to recently add the petrol-only Sonata to its range, the company has made the wise decision to now offer the i40 sedan as a diesel-only proposition. And it remains an exceptionally quiet and refined unit, though despite the power increases it's still no firebrand. Hyundai has replaced the old 6-speed automatic transmission with a new 7-speed DCT dual-clutch unit. And like any dual-clutch unit, it takes a little bit of getting used to around town, but it doesn't have some of the inconsistencies and gremlins that other boxes of this type have exhibited in the past. In a segment full of sharp handlers, the i40 has always been one of the better offerings, and that remains the case in this iteration. Hyundai's Australian suspension tuning arm has also made some worthy changes underneath. This car feels a little bit softer and more compliant around town, and the turn-in and initial bite feels a little sharper than it did before. Perhaps the only dampener on an otherwise fine driving experience is there's probably a little bit too much tyre roar emanating into the cabin. While a new DCT might take a little bit of getting used to, the fuel economy savings are obvious. Hyundai claims that you'll use only a tick over 5 litres every 100 kilometres, which is fantastic for a vehicle of this size. Hyundai has made some small but worthy changes to the i40, and while the Tourer remains a more practical offering, the now diesel-only sedan remains a premium, almost Euro-styled mid-size contender that's well worth a look.